All right, folks, this is the final video that we are doing for the four-part series that we have dedicated to the first four seals in the book of Revelation chapter 6. Now, the reason why I'm doing this series, because as I've said before, I've done a series like this. The reason why I'm doing this particular series is to demonstrate the fact that this is a picture of things to come, right? And as we read about what happens in those first four seals of the book of Revelation, we know that this is what happens when man is being allowed to have what it wants. Now, of course, the difference between the first four seals of the book of Revelation and sort of a preview of those seals that are happening right now is the fact that when those seals happen in the book of Revelation, it will be without the restraining force of Christians who are filled with the Spirit. And if you want to know what that means, you can go to my first sort of preview of this four-part series, which technically makes it a five-part series. You go to the intro, I talk about that, and hopefully it will help you understand it. Matter of fact, I will attach to the end of this video a link to that first series so that you can get it. So we get to the last of the seals of the four horsemen here in Revelation chapter 6, and look what it says, and it's absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible. Look at this. It says, and when he had opened the fourth seal, this is verse 7 of Revelation chapter 6, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And a power was given unto him over a fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. In other words, this last seal will involve 25% of the whole world being put to death. And that's a terrible number, because that could be as high as 2.5, maybe even 3 billion people that will die during this time. But it is a preview, right? We're seeing right now a preview of that which is to come, because we've talked about this, right? When you have a totalitarian ruler come into play, the first seal, he always brings war into practice, right? That's the second seal. And then it affects the economy tremendously. And then once the economy is affected, it brings death. We know that because it's the final thing. When you have a bad economy, you have the preservation of a ruling class that will do everything it can to keep it that way. You are going to see people dying. And that has always been the result of totalitarian regimes and totalitarian rule. As a matter of fact, it's the result of many things that we're actually seeing here in the United States of America, where we have watched a totalitarian ruler come into play. The result of that totalitarian ruler, of course, has been war. First time we've seen war in many years. And then as a result of that, we are watching the economy collapsing, which they kind of happen simultaneously. And with the collapse of that economy, we're actually going to be seeing a lot of death. And it's terrible, and it's a tragedy, but it is, in essence, a preview of things to come. Folks, here's the bottom line that I've been doing with this whole series, and that's to remind you, if you think things are bad now as you look around the world, that's what it looks like when the restraining force of the Spirit of God living inside of Christians keeps it from coming into full fruition. Imagine when that force is lifted after the rapture and the kind of death that we see happens. Think about this, to 2.5 billion to 3 billion people. Folks, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So keep your eyes open. Understand, Jesus is coming soon. And if you don't know him, it's a simple prayer. Lord Jesus, come into my heart. Forgive me of my sins. And guess what? You believe that in your heart. I can tell you this right now. You say it with your lips. You are going to see the rapture. You will be a part of that rapture, and you will not be in the midst of all the things that are being brought up in these first four seals in Revelation chapter 6. All right? God bless you guys. Don't forget, Jesus is coming soon.